2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, meaning it's time for Game On, right here on SABC 1. Hello and welcome, I am Sizwe Mabena. We'll be joined by legends during the course of the next half hour, starting off with one Jerry Sikhosana. But Jerry, good to be in your company. My predictions were last week. Isaac Shaileo.
No, Sizwe isn't serious. You look at Chiefs winning away, Pirates winning at home, and Chippa United as well, beating Arrows. So the way ding donged. Just pay 5 goals, 3-2 score. Yeah, what a game! What a game to watch. I mean, a derby there in Maritzburg. So I think that was good for Raleigh, but so bad for Richards Bay because they want to get out of there. Yeah. Now let's look forward at what's coming up, and of course one has to talk about Mamelodi Sundowns. Busy on the continent, busy season so far. They've still got a lot to do, but already they're sitting on top of the log and they're looking quite comfortable with 3 games in hand. Yeah, it's so sad for the other teams because when they look at Sundowns all over the continent, still on top of the log, 3 games in hand, coming back and also being the best team in the PSL, I think Sundowns will be running away with it again. They still have to play the Nedbank Cup, Champions League. Can they be caught? Can they draw points? I don't think so. I mean, Sundowns gonna healthy a dressing room, Sizwe. When you've got our players are happy with the happy coach. Ama results manayalandela. Kuba yinto nje smooth. Mawubukela Sundowns and then watching the other squad lapha phezulu seated, not involved. There is another Sundowns that can play these Sundowns. So for me, Sundowns will be walking away with it. Have to talk about former league champions, and many youngsters won't understand when you say Cape Town Spurs, but former league champions from back in the 90s. It's tough. Just the 1 win, they're losing games. It's looking, by the midway point of the season, like acting blind forward. No, Gunzima. I mean, if you look at now already, Sean Bartlett over-promoted, and then the caretaker coach that took over now, it's Ernst Middendorp, but it's still the train is moving slow, but I mean lapha eNzansi ukuzophuma ku-PSL, it's so difficult. And now if you've lost 13 games out of 14 already, you've got only 3 points or you're telling a Pirates. That's true. So I ain't say Latin for it.
It's looking like an uphill battle for real now. For Orlando Pirates and the Coordinators, the only league game that's happening on Sunday. It's an important game for both these sides, both in the top 8. Pirates, what are their ambitions this season? Where will they do well if they finish as high as possible? I think for me, they need to fight for Champions League, which is the second spot on the PSL, because Sundowns already, they've taken the league for me. But Arrows, I don't know what is happening. It seems like amavili kamabuti ukenyeza apumile. Ngathi sekavaya phansi. So I don't know what is happening. But if you remember, at one stage, they were number 3 on the log. Now they are number 7. Yeah. So they must be careful. They might end up being out of the top 8 because the primary yabo is just to be in the top 8. But ngibona ngathi kunzima manje babhizi bayehla bayephansi. Big game on Saturday. Big, huge final. Tell me, what separates these 2 sides? What makes them special going into the final? I think for me, Steve Parker has done a sterling job with Stellenbosch. I mean, you look at all the local boys that they are having, Abu Taitas, Reyners, all these local boys that have grown up with Stellenbosch. They know the philosophy of Parker, and it's good because we started from Lapagu Mutsipe Championship. So it will be nice for these boys to bring that cup. Cape Town, it's like, from NFT, Lape, Eslatini, now we're coming to the PSL and then we are the champions of the Cullen Cup. That would be great for them. I wish that can happen, but of course, you cannot rule TS Galaxy as well. But my results with TS Galaxy, basindeka kulunga ma penalty, babe mnandi nje only ku amazulu nge 3-2 ku semi-final. Mabazodlala like in Elona today, Stellenbosch, but I think for me, Stellenbosch will walk away with it. So your prediction then is Stellenbosch? No, I'm going to Stellenbosch. It's would you dare? Are you just hoping for goals and entertainment? No, goals will be there. Yeah? I think I can say 2-1 to Stellenbosch. Manje, I have to ask you, I mean, finals at Durban usually a great place to be. Here's another final. Once again, it's in Durban. You're hoping the South African fans will turn out there and support these 2 teams? Yeah, I even forgot to go to their other stadiums for the final. Like Durban Rocks, especially March in December. So I think it was a good choice for PSL to stage the final at Durban. So I think that it's going to be good atmosphere for both teams to have a lot of people coming there to support.
Now, Sebola and the final. I have to take you back with the Pirates, the Arrows. It's an important game. The Pirates, they're building momentum. Then Bushido, the Arrows, they are going through a rough patch of form here. The Pirates, what are they getting right lately?
Yeah, I mean, last week, man. I thought maybe they won't come right with TS Galaxy, but remember, I think the Pirates, they're playing for a second spot. So it's going to be important for Bonaguti. But going a momentum against the Arrows. So it's going to be a good time to play Arrows because you know how Mabuti Kanyeza is struggling with Arrows after 5 losses, Pirates coming with 5 wins in a row. So it's the opposite of numbers. So I think Pirates will walk away with it, and I just hope it doesn't rain in Namaste. It doesn't rain, but let's see how it comes.
Now, everyone knows when you play against the Pirates, against the Chiefs or Sundowns, already my players are motivated. Do you think for Maputo Kanyeza, you can get that motivation out of these players in what should be a tough game, get them to play their best against Pirates?
Yeah, let's hope it comes right. But by the look of things, they're working a corner. I don't see that coming. Because, I mean, the games that they've lost, those are the games that you thought Arrows would win. I mean, losing to Chippa, obviously Pirates will be motivated by that to say if Chippa can beat Arrows, then we can also do that in their own backyard in Hammersdale.
Well, that's our breakdown of the local league, of course, here in the DStv Premiership with Sikhosana. On the other side of this, we bring on another legend in McGregor as we break down the Premiership out in England.
Game on.
Check these guys. Let's show them how it's done. I see it. Let's have a
your feet like this.
Okay.
Let's see how you play.
Your feet like this.
Welcome back to Game On as we keep things moving along here. Switching focus, of course, as we go abroad to look at what's happening in England, and we also switch focus in who sits alongside me in the way of legends, Shane McGregor. And Shane, last week we spoke at length about Aston Villa, the big surprise package of the season so far. They came against Arsenal, which was of huge importance, and Aston Villa continue to, some would say, punch above their weight.
Well, I've been looking at it. I don't think they're punching above their weight. I think they're very good side. We said it last week, they do things differently. The manager's got the players believing in themselves. He's taken some players that were there last year and he's made it of games coming on. If you start losing players through injury, suspension, that's my big worry. Do they have the players to back up what they got now?
Yep, and there'll be some important games taking place over the weekend, of course, that, will be of interest. Let's start off with Manchester City. For one, things are still competitive. For once, they haven't pulled away from the rest of the teams with them playing catch-up. City are very much in the struggle of the chasing pack right now. They're playing Crystal Palace, which can come up with a surprise or two when they're at their best.
Yeah, not an easy game for them. If you look at the way City have been playing, this is a difficult game. Palace love to play against the bigger clubs. Very difficult game. I think City will just edge it out, but it's a difficult one to call in this one.
Talking about difficult game and the need to bounce back, in what's a great fixture for me and one of the fixtures of the weekend, Arsenal against Brighton, who can fight in just about any side when they're at their very best. Arsenal at times looking as though they can be vulnerable. How do you see this game going?
Yeah, Arsenal, if you look at them last season, they were flying and then all of a sudden the wheels came off. And now the manager's going to be wondering, is this going to happen again? He's got to turn it around. Brighton at the moment aren't the same Brighton as they were last season. They're playing in Europe, which has taken a bit of a toll on them. They don't want to have a bet, you got double chance. It's going to be the best way, the home win and draw probably.
Now, another side that's also now this season having to balance the league as well as the European travels and European football is Newcastle, but still a side that's doing very well up against Fulham in what's another very important game.
Fulham's going to get a draw out of this game. I do feel that Newcastle are now at the moment where they are struggling with players, trying to get the players back into fitness. Yeah. They are at home, it makes it a little bit easier, but I think Fulham will get a draw out of this one.
One of the biggest rivalries in the world. Liverpool, Manchester United, Liverpool at home, having a good season, great season up to this point. United, they're struggling for consistency.
That's the big problem with them. They are struggling. We all know that. We all know what's going on there. Ten Hag must be a man that's... We remember last season, we're not going to go back to that, so I'm not going to say 7-0. But,
but it could be.
But it could be.
Yeah,
you never know. You never know because it's one of those games. I do think Liverpool will win. I don't think it'll be the 7 like we saw last year. It's going to be a very intriguing game. It's going to be the most important game of the weekend for me. But I do think Liverpool will beat Man United in this and put them in more misery. Ten Hag, desperate. I'll hate to be in his office on Monday morning.
He's under a tremendous amount of pressure. Is the United coach, Ten Hag. Whilst for Liverpool, they'll hope to keep the good times rolling with an important win over Manchester United. Stay with Game On as we shift focus once again, going into the last segment of the show where we speak about all things Hollywoodbets Super League.
Thank you very much for that one, Sizwe. Last week, Vodacom Dome in Midrand was a buzz. As the 2023 Hollywoodbets Super League Awards took place, players and administrators and coaches were all honored to be part of an unbelievable season yet again. The big winner of the day was Mamelodi Sundowns star player Boitumelo Rabale. But on the screen from Lesotho, she was the player of the season. Tina Solskjaer of the University of the Western Cape, they challenged Mamelodi Sundowns all the way to the end, walked away with the coach of the season. Goal of the season went to Kalen Swart of JVWFC and Banyana International as well, as she kept 14 clean sheets at the end of the season. Trele Morifi from Mamelodi Sundowns ladies was voted as the fans player of the season, while the young player of the season award went to Mabato Mohale, 18 years of age from University of Pretoria. The final and big one as well was that one of the top goal scorer of the season, Phumelelo Shamas, University of Johannesburg. The Banyana International did very well as she worked out with a big victory for that one there. Until we start getting 2024 to see who are going to be the big winners.
Welcome back to Game On, where we are joined by a special guest, and I guess it's safe to call him a legend as well. The Mamelodi Sundowns ladies team coach, of course, Mr. Jerry Shabalala. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate you for a great season and for being a treble winner, what with the Super League, the Akosafa Champions League qualifiers, as well as being crowned champions of Africa. So you own Southern Africa, you own the southern tip of Africa and the continent at large. Congratulations, what a season, Bob.
Thank you so much, Sizwe, and thank you for having me. When I was on this show some couple of few weeks back, I did promise I'll bring all the trophies back home.
Yes.
And I'm glad that all the trophies are back home, where they belong, in Southern Africa.
But let's talk about firstly the Super League. Some would say this wasn't such an easy season. It was way more competitive than seasons in the past.
Yeah, look, it was a very, very competitive season. I remember when we started the season with the ladies, I told them that this is going to be a special season, for us especially, the manner in which we're going to win it. Because when we started, things were not going our way. You could tell that we were battling a little bit, but there were a few things that made us to battle a little bit. When you look in terms of the squad and the players that we brought into the team, we've brought about six new players into the team. So they needed to gel with the team. They needed to understand how we do things, And it took us some time to gel as a team. But eventually it came right at the right time.
Now, you say obviously some of the struggles came from your gelling of players, new players and so on. Could also one say, look, the other teams are catching up a bit, so making life difficult in improving their standards as well in competing in the Hollywoodbets Super League?
Yeah, for sure. When you look, teams like your UWC, they've been consistent for the past, I think, the past 2 years, they've been consistent, one would say teams like your UWC, teams like your University of Pretoria, you know, your University of Joburg. You can tell that teams are consistent and teams are doing things differently, and teams, they understand what is it that needs to be done in terms of competing with us, you know, and they're making the league very, very strong.
How important is it for your ladies, your team, to be able to compete in the COSAFA Champions League qualifiers and just lifting the standard and getting that international exposure and to win that and for their growth and their confidence? How important is it for you?
Yeah, it's very important, not only for me and not only for the players, but for the entire country, you know, because when you got players that are participating in your COSAFA, you got players that are participating in CAF Champions League, it also helps the national team, you know, in terms of having players which are ready, in terms of helping the national team to progress to other competitions. So we as a team, we're doing our level best to see to it that we need to up the standard. You know, with all the resources that we have, we need to set the standard very, very high.
Now, when you take all of that now, South Africa, the continent and winning the continent, tell us about the difficulties of all of the success that comes with all of the success.
Yeah, look, there's lots and lots of challenges that we face. First thing first, you got players that are going to different national teams. You have to prepare the team without those players. Players going to the national team, the traveling in between, you know. You also got injuries. When you look, the team that I've brought to COSAFA, first in COSAFA, we had a couple of few injuries, and you had already got you had already had your best 11. Now 3 or 4 of your players, they get to be injured on that first 11. You have to rope the other ones in. You go to CAF Champions League with a squad that you felt like, had I have my other best 11, you know, it would have been something different. But with the players that we've got and the mentality that the players they have at Mamelodi Sundowns, everyone knows that when I get that first 11, I must come to the party. And guess what? The players, they always come to the party at Mamelodi Sundowns.
Well, it seems Sundowns as a whole come to the party, and we have to congratulate not only the ladies team, but the men's team as well. You're setting the standard, not only in Southern Africa, but on the continent, as Sundowns as a whole now. You know,
immediately when you enter that gate of Mamelodi Sundowns, you feel that things have been done differently. You're coming into the world of champions, and the mentality is what it has to change. You know, I remember there was one of the players that we've brought into the team recently. When she came with the performance being very, very, very low. But one had to speak to the player and say, look, the player, it's Lebogang Ramalepe, you know, she had one of the worst, I think it was at AFCON, you know, and she was very, very down, and she said, Coach, I don't see myself coming back. I said, Rama, I'm here to walk the path with you, and we're going to take you back to the national team. As I speak to you now, she's amongst one of the players, the best players in Africa in Fifth Pro 11.
Well, Jay Shabalala, we'd like to thank you very much for the time you've taken to come join us here in the studio and congratulate you on yet another stunning season and ensuring that, of course, you do keep Southern Africa and South Africa proud of the work you do out of Sundowns, bro.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sizwe, for having me. It's always a pleasure, buddy.
Yeah, looking forward to the next time. Now, I have to remind you that Hollywoodbets recently went to King Williamstown to get back to the community, and they did that through Teenagers Sports Club. Let's find out how.
So today, as the Hollywood Foundation, we're in King Williamstown in a location called Zwelicha, whereby we're visiting Teenagers Sporting Academy, where we're here to paint smiles in the young talent and ensure that they're equipped to play and showcase their talents. This is one team that has a rich history because we've got the likes of Lucanyo Am, who once showcased his talent in this team.
It was formed in 1987. Hollywood Foundation is not kakhulu because ever since the team was formed, siyaqala like ukuba each division ibekwazi uba nejezi layo. Now ke i-situation ebesikuyo it's whereby xa kugqibodla i-division ethile funeka bakhulule fast banika abanye ijezi so that abanye bakwazi ungena ebaleni. But now we've got about 5 kids. Lena ke ngoku izawulift iweight enkulu emagxeni abantu abaledisha team. And izawusincedisa kakhulu going forward.
I feel very, very excited. That's because these chances like this are never found easily. So it was a kind of a good pleasure for me and for my team to receive the sponsor.
time flies when you're having fun, and we certainly hope you've had fun at home. As we would like to thank Jerry Shabalala for coming through, not forgetting Jerry Sikhosana as well as Shane McGregor. So from me, Sizwe Mabena, and the rest of the team behind the scenes, it's click, click, bang. Until next week.